Okay guys, I've got little Mr. Goofy Foot here with me today, and we're going outside, and I will probably always to some degree refer to Jessie as my Goofy Foot because it's like he's got two left feet without having feet. Can you have a left tail? Don't know, but that's what it seems like with him. Getting him out of his enclosure is a nightmare. Not all the time, but I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but he's such an insecure snake to handle. Really panics if he doesn't feel like he's being held, securely enough. And I try all sorts of things with Jessie to make him feel as comfortable as I can when I'm getting him out, but it just, honestly guys, does not make any difference whatsoever. And as you can see, yes, I'm outside again, and yeah, making absolute the most of this sunny weather. My boys will be due home. I'm just trying to bring it down to where you might be able to see him and give him the availability to move in. And stop huffing and puffing. I mean, my goodness, boy, you don't do the work. Mum does when she's trying to get you out of that enclosure. Hey, does she not? And what I'm going to talk about today, and I've touched on the subject before, the question is always asked and referred to as taming your snakes. Taming your snakes. And it's kind of appropriate, but I see it as more about socializing your snake, because people insist that they're wild animals and that you can't tame wild animals. Now he might be able to go down. Maybe using my whole arm and that pole and part of my back and shoulders. Are you going to be right, dude? Or am I going to have to put the camera down and hold your butt end while you do what you do? He's got hold of my thong, got a good grip with his tail, and I'll slowly let him get down here onto the ground. Now you're right. You okay, dude? Come on, chill. Just chill. Like my big snakes, although different, because Jessie never likes to come out of his enclosure. He rarely ever willingly is at that door saying, can you let me out today? It's not Jessie, and he used to be more like it when he was younger, but as he's gotten older and bigger, which I felt if he got older and bigger, he would become so much more sure of himself. I guess the word we would use as humans is ability to be confident. Jessie just does not have it at all. At all. It's, I'm sure, very frustrating for him to feel like that when he's coming out of his home, that he's feeling so insecure. I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. And it's not going to stop me from getting him out. because as in my big snakes, once they're out, though my big snakes love coming out, but he enjoys being out. He loves climbing inside in all the hangout spots and places I've got in there for him. So, I have to get Jessie out. It is just the way it is. And I will probably have to continue to do that with him forever. I hope it wouldn't be like that, but I do believe that it is going to be like that with him. But getting back to taming your snakes, we don't actually tame them. We do allow them to become, again, confident and less fearful, and with that becomes, they socialise. They start to accept us and that we're not going to hurt them, and they stop with the fear and the defensiveness that goes with fear. I get no defensive behaviour from Jessie, and I've said that before with him. Within all his insecurities, he is not defensive about it. So it's not a fear of me as such. It's the fear of not being in that nice, secure place that Jessie calls his home. And I've had to move because he's going to the toilet, which I knew that he would, but I was kind of hoping he'd move a little bit further away to do that, but no, he's decided to do it right where I'm sitting. But once again, sure beats not doing it in his enclosure. So how do we socialise a snake? I can honestly say to you, when you get them as a hatchling, it is so much easier to do this with. Number one, because even if they were to strike and bite you, it is no big deal, really. You hardly feel it. Of course, if you get a much bigger snake, they can pack a powerful punch. So it's not quite so pleasant to be putting your hand in there and being struck at. And some snakes don't just do that once and move away. They might stand their ground and they're prepared to have another go and another go. You would hope that after the first strike, of course, that they might give it up. But no, that isn't always the case. So I'll start with working with a young snake, a hatchling, which you can put your hand in and be struck a couple of times, and generally a baby will only kind of do that once or twice and then move away, realising that that hand hasn't gone, that the hand is still there, and they give it up and they decide to run. But really my suggestion is to be confident when you go in to handle that snake. No pausing, no I'm unsure, because the more that snake feels that you are being unsure, the more unsure that snake is going to be feeling about you. But also give the snake time to understand that it is you and that you are not food. They need to be able to understand that, no, they're not being fed, that you are actually getting them out. So give them a few minutes to realise that it's not feed time. And that can be a mistake a lot of the time, just going in and sticking your hand in and grabbing. Thanks, Jessie. I think I'll move a little bit further away now that you've done the other as well. And I'll have to come out with the plastic bag and pick up it. It's like doing that with my dogs, the same thing. But also remembering, a lot of the time, you, like me, I had little Apani in a plastic tub. And going in from the top is very scary for a snake. This big thing is coming down over the top of them. That to them is making them feel like there's a predator and that they're a prey. So try and go in from the side at ground level if you can. And, don't startle them with this big hand coming in over the top of them. For me, the hatchlings are easy. You only need to do that a few times, and more often than not, that baby is going to not even bother in the end. You open the lid, you say hello, and in between the handling sessions as such, you can go in and take out their water bowl. Go in and rest your hand in there and just talk to them. It's not always about opening up that lid or that tub or whatever door and getting them out. Sometimes it's just, having that chat with them in between when you are actually going to hold them. And that's what I like to do with my babies. And a lot of the time I found, just by resting my hand in there, the babies would come over out of curiosity and come to my hand themselves and check out my hand. So that's a bub. But if you get an older snake, and lots of us can get a snake this size too, and if they come to you defensive, there's a little bit more work. Yes, I would say a little bit more difficult, and probably take a whole lot longer to build up that trust with that snake. And it is just the way it is, and you're going to have to be prepared to do some work with them. So like me, and Tessa is a really wonderful example of that at the moment, that she's an extremely defensive snake, and I'm very mindful of that, and she packs a pretty mighty bite, and I don't want to be bitten, and she doesn't really want to bite me. She just wants me to go away and leave her alone. So I do use a hook. I, of course, am not outside with a hook to show you, but it's just a matter of opening that door and once again going through the motions of letting them know, no, I'm not feeding you today. First and foremost, I'm not feeding you. You can wait them out, such as Tessa being instantly in that defensive mode. I will sometimes wait her out until I see her backing off a bit from me, which I do if I'm going in to get her water bowl out. Once she starts to back away from being in that defensive position, I feel quite comfortable in lifting out her water bowl. Not right out from under her nose. I'll go in from the other side from where she is, but I still wait for her to back away from me. If I'm going to get Tessa out, then I will use the hook. And all I do is she then focuses on that hook and not so much my hand. And I very gently just move her head out of the way, which is just redirecting her attention from, say, having a temper tantrum, basically. And I know that might sound funny, but it's kind of like that scenario. Just redirect her attention, get her focused on that hook and me moving her head away. And when I do that, Tessa immediately connects that I am going to be getting her out. And more often than not, just by redirecting her, I can then go in, and once I've got my hand up under her belly somewhere, she knows. I can then put the hook down. She lost the fight, and she knows that she is going to be coming out. Then Tessa is pretty fine from there on. But I think the key to it is to remember that in between the handling, they need to know that you're there and who you are. And that means opening up the door, just sitting there talking to them, putting your hand in, moving the water bowl a few inches, bringing your hand out, continue talking, move the water bowl back to where it was originally. Just do something within their enclosure. That, I think, is key to socialising your snakes, or taming your snakes, as people will say. Time, lots of time, letting them get to know you, and not always going in there to get them out. They need to recognise that I'm going in to feed you, I'm going in to get your water bowl, I'm going in to get you out to clean up your enclosure for you, and I'm going in, it's time to come out. And they will learn what your signals are to them and what it is that you're about to do with them. So that's the best way I can explain as to how I've socialised my snakes. Spending a lot of time with them doing nothing sometimes. So Jess hasn't really done a lot, though he's been to the toilet, so that's something. This video's gotten on in time, of course. So thank you for watching, and take care of yourself and your family and your snakes and all your animals. So ciao.